Hello, my name is Faridah Gbadamosi. I am the U.S. Indies programmer and the Mind the Gap manager at the Mill Valley Film Festival. I'm so excited to get into this Q&A with the amazing team from Rehab Cabin, have them all introduce themselves. We have a great group with us today. So I'm going to first go to Kate.
I'm Kate, and I wrote and co-directed Rehab Cabin.
All right, next is Lacey.
Hi, I'm Lacey. I played Chloe.
Louis.
Hi, I co-directed and I edited Rehab Cabin.
Peter.
I was the director of photography on Rehab Cabin.
And Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott. I played Domenic in Rehab Cabin.
Awesome. So I guess my first question is, how did this idea come about? I mean, I had my illusions when I was watching about who might have been referenced, but I wanted to know a little bit more about the writing process.
So it was definitely based on my own personal relationship to a celebrity who doesn't know I exist. And kind of just trying to use writing as a healthy way of feeling those feelings. And it definitely worked. I wrote it in, I think, like 6 months or something, right after I graduated from college. And it was the fastest I had written anything up to that point. And yeah, it was a real journey of personal exploration, writing it.
But you're not actually plotting to kidnap your, childhood.
Right. I had that idea originally. And then I was like, but I also know how to write screenplays. So I should probably just channel this into narrative fiction.
That makes sense. Then how did you, so the film is co-directed. So how did you meet your co-director, and also how did you meet your DP?
Yeah, Louis and I met working at Sunshine Cinema in New York City. And he read the script and came on as a producer. But I also don't want to just tell Louis' story. If you want to jump in, Louis,
No, I like hearing it in.
Okay. Cool. So I was going to direct it by myself, and he was on as a producer, and we had been working on it for like 3 years or something. And it had gotten to a point where while we were developing it, we were just both so excited about all the same things. And we both had the same exact vision in like a freaky way. And I was just like, you need to let go of this hubris that is keeping you from collaborating more closely with Louis. So I invited him to co-direct, which he had originally, I think, asked me if he could do it. And I was like, no, I need to.
Yeah, I pitched collabing in a cabin.
Yeah. That was the name of the email. That was really good. I should have known then.
And then Louis, was there anything else you wanted to add to the story?
It was one of the first scripts I'd read that was written by somebody else, where sort of I could picture the movie just kind of, like jumping off the page. Like it just immediately looked like something that I could see working. And more than that, I just really wanted to be able to watch the movie. Like I wanted it to exist. So I wanted to be involved in it as much as possible.
We met Peter through Lacey, weirdly, even though Peter and I went to the same college.
But I had shot a few comedy sketches for Lacey. And then when Kate sent me the script, I thought it was hilarious, but also I knew Lacey was going to be starring in it. And I was like, I could just picture her saying every word. It was like, well, this is going to be brilliant.
Oh my God. It's so weird to think about how we all know each other, because I now just feel like we've known each other for 40 years. I'm only 16 years old, so math doesn't add up there, but I just feel like I've known you guys my whole life. So it's really funny it's a funny reminder that you didn't already know these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just colleagues. None of you are my friends. It's so weird.
And then, to wrap up, I guess, the question of how you met everyone, the casting process, I guess, because comedy's so hard. And I feel like I couldn't keep my eyes off your stars. They were like so good. And I was like laughing with I could feel every beat with them. And I kind of just wanted to know, like, where did you find them? Was it one of those kind of, you knew them for a long time, you'd been watching their stuff?
Well, Stebbins, who played Amanda, was part of the group that I was hanging out with while I was writing the script. So we were in a writing group. So we would write pages at home and then meet up and read them all together. And this was my project with that group of people. And Stebbins would come and read for Chloe. So she was just like an actor friend that some of my other friends had made movies with. So she was kind of always involved. And as soon as it became like a real thing to make the movie, she was like, I want to play Amanda. And then we had a different actor playing Domenic also from the beginning. And we were like, we can't make this movie without like the perfect Chloe. And then a mutual friend of all of ours, Sam, was like, I know this girl from my improv class and she's perfect. So we brought Lacey in for like a read through, which was actually an audition, but Lacey just thought it was like a reading and that we just needed a body to like read the lead of the script. And obviously Lacey was perfect and like made parts of the script that were funny, or parts of the script that I didn't know were funny. So there was stuff that I had written that I didn't realize was a joke. And Lacey, like, I don't know, everyone was laughing their heads off. It was awesome. And then we lost that original Domenic. He decided to move to Canada. And so when we were looking for another Domenic, Lacey knows Scott from acting school. And they had always wanted to work together, I think, as brother and sister, right? That was like your thing. So we were kind of like this really close friendship would be great. And their chemistry is obviously awesome.
I'm seeing a lot of lines lead to Lacey is what I'm getting.
All lines do.
One of the things, I guess, a question I had was the film involves a lot of physicality, like chasing and, holding people hostage. So I kind of wanted to know what was it like to like play that, but also like to direct it, because your action shots are not really normally what you're thinking of when you see a comedy. So what was it like to kind of shoot these moments and then, of course, to like play these very physical characters?
It was horrible. It was really horrible to keep making, particularly Alex Stebbins, who plays Amanda, keep tying her up to a chair and that sort of stuff. And even though we were playing all of those action moments for comedy, it's still quite horrific to see someone tied to a chair for a few hours. And I just don't think I could ever really make a proper horror movie after this experience. I would just feel too bad.
I can attest to the physicality of it. I really don't know if I should continue telling this story, but during one of our scenes, I broke my rib. And we had to get like a stand-in to come like be my stunt stand-in. And it was really crazy, but I don't know if I would have done this for anyone else and this team of people and everyone. It was just like, I remember I broke my rib, and then the next day I was like climbing over in the limo and I was like, yeah, I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm having a good time. So I guess it's fine.
Oh no. Scott.
And I remember we had a day and like, there were like, didn't everyone get like poison oak or poison something?
You got the
and I remember Lacey and I were like, yeah, we're not going to roll around in that. And we were like the only ones that didn't get it. It was.
I think our AC got Lyme disease actually from ticks. So
it was an arduous shoot. No, but it wasn't. It was incredible. I would do it again. I don't care.
From like a technical point of view, it was pretty hard because I'd never really done like extended action scenes like that. So we looked at some examples of how to use the camera to make it look like people were running faster, using a really long lens for the chase scenes and having a lot of stuff whipping past in the foreground seemed to work. And Peter experimented a lot with like frame rates and that kind of helped give it some actual proper action feel. I think we kind of got there.
I'm glad you guys had a backup for fast running that wasn't all reliant on me, because that tracking shot of me with the hacksaw is I was like winded after the first take. You were just like, faster, right? And I'm like, yeah, faster, got it.
without a doubt 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And she's running over and over again, and it was, I think it adds to, the kind of the layers of the film. So
also, you guys are doing it all in like layers and layers of flannel. So kudos.
Where did you actually shoot the cabin scenes and the wood scenes?
We shot at like a farmy Airbnb place in upstate New York. And we did all the cabin stuff there. And then also shot like their apartment stuff is in Massachusetts. The Worldwide Witch stuff at the beginning was in Connecticut. And then we did a lot of shooting like in the city.
We have to kind of cold cut a lot on account of the chickens and horses and that kind of things.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it was a pretty good location.
So there were a bunch of chickens and horses just around?
Yeah, and like goats and stuff.
And dogs.
Yeah, there were tons of dogs.
It was very sad because we couldn't have them in the plot. It wouldn't make any sense for there to be chickens in this camp, but they were running around and so photogenic. It was. Yeah. We got a lot of good BTS photos.
The horse scene is my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, again, does not make sense there's a horse here. No one is at this cabin like 10 months out of the year. There should not be horses. I don't know what they're eating, but...
the horses were featured like way heavier early, like in earlier cuts, and people just kept being like, who is taking care of these horses?
They're wild Brumbies.
There is a groundskeeper.
But we killed him.
Yeah.
Well, then you start worrying that the horses won't be taken care of afterwards.
Yeah. So we couldn't introduce all those animals.
It's fun. I mean, but that must have been interesting for shoots. Like, were there a lot of them walking into shots that you had to like redo?
No, I think it was mostly just the animal vocalization through everything.
That's a technical term.
The dog walked in and out a few times, I feel like, because people really love the dog.
Yeah.
There are multiple beautiful dogs, and we couldn't shoot them.
For me, it was just like that one ram that like whenever we had to walk back to like where we were, because we also slept there. So whenever we had to walk back to our rooms at night and it was like pitch black, I was like, where's the ram? Because he would just like kind of come at you. Yeah. And like, you're like, ha ha ha. But like, I was a little bit scared, if I'm being honest.
And I'm pretty sure cool. One of the fences was like an electrical fence that we could like not touch.
Yeah.
I recall that. I feel like all of this, not mayhem, but in this the like organized chaos of it all led to this summer camp feeling, which I feel like is so noticeable throughout the film that we really just, I mean, yes, obviously between myself and Lacey and Alex, but also between like the camp, like just you really feel this kind of camaraderie as you go deeper and deeper into the weeks of doing it.
Peter and I slept in the same bed for weeks. And it brought us closer, right, Peter?
Yeah, we were having production meetings in our dreams. The week before we shot, Louis did stay in my house. He stayed on my couch. And it was actually so nice being able to just constantly talk about the movie for like a week beforehand, just removing any boundary between like, home life and work, just obliterated, like 2 a.m. I'm thinking for this scene, would recommend to anyone.
Wake up, Peter. Yeah.
One of the fun moments for me, I mean, the entire film is a lot of fun, but one of the fun moments for me were kind of the scenes with like the TV presenters, like where they would kind of like be the real world kind of like spoof satire on how we engage with celebrity gossip. So I kind of wanted to know what went into some of those moments.
It was mostly just originally purely like an expositional mechanism, right? But then it kind of became something where we could parody the entire celebrity culture, kind of set up some of our themes.
Yeah.
And then also it worked.
And then
we brought it back as an afterthought. It was originally only going to appear at the beginning, but then we needed something to kind of, what do you call it? Is the word pronounced denouement? I never really paid attention in film school. Like the third act. Thank you. We needed something to kind of tie up those loose ends. So we went and we shot that after we had a final cut of the film.
I directed.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, this is mainly, I mean, I'm happy to have starred in the film, but it's mainly my second unit directorial debut. And I just want everyone to recognize that. Okay?
Lacey, Jacob.
Good job, Lacey.
Recognize.
But also, I think so. That first trash talk segment after the movie at the beginning, I think, because I clearly am obsessed with celebrities, but I also am really interested in like the criticism of celebrity culture. So I think that when I was writing it, that was my way of like telling everybody that I knew that this was not right, and like kind of trying to get that message across more, that it's insane that any of us expect to know anything about any of these people.
I agree. Given recent celebrity news that's popping all over the place, that feels very, very prescient. We are getting towards the end of our time together, which makes me so sad because this is so much fun. But I do have a question. I imagine there'll be lots of fun answers. I know what some of the harder scenes to shoot were, like the running. But like, but I wanted to know, what were moments of joy? That's kind of a question I asked. Like thinking back, I imagine there was a ton. It seems like it was a really great filmmaking process. But like, what was like one thing that made you think of, that was just so much fun? Or like, I just laughed my head off. Or maybe it's a moment where you went super delirious and it's fun in a different way. And I guess that's a question for everyone in the filmmaking process.
Well, personally, I think for me, it was the bathroom argument scene between Amanda and Chloe, where just after Amanda's first escape attempt, it was just kind of the first scene where the dialogue was flowing there on location without having to imagine how it would work after editing. It was just like really watching two women scream at each other and slap each other, which really worked a lot better than I could have possibly imagined. And it was sort of the moment where I felt like, oh, this is gonna come together. This is gonna work.
One of the first nights, I think we were shooting, I think it's when Amanda, I think she has to throw up, and Lacey and I did not have to throw up, and we just kept having to watch her run back and forth. And we had a yurt. We were staying in a yurt, which I didn't know was a word. And I think that was like one of the later nights, and it was just night, and it was truly just like a beautiful atmosphere. And we were definitely slap happy by the end of that evening. And I think that shows. And yeah, I remember that. Also, I think the last night that we shot, it was till like the sun rose in a parking lot in Brooklyn. And that was beautiful.
That was really sweet. Mine ties into yours about the yurt. I mean, it's not a moment from the film, but I think it was that night that we were shooting that we did sort of get like that sleepover, like delirious sort of giddy feeling. And we shared a bed during Rehab Cabin, and it was just like, it was whispering to each other all night and laughing, but like church giggles, like trying not to laugh to like wake up the other people in the yurt. But like, I was like crying, like just like whispering stuff to you. I think about it all the time.
Me too. Like I think about it. I thought about it yesterday.
I was going to say there was the last day we shot upstate. It started raining randomly, which was terrible for us. But also we realized that if we had these flashlights in the background, we could backlight the rain, and it looked truly beautiful. And then Louis cut it out of the movie. But until then, that was definitely a moment of joy for sure. When you can sort of collaborate with the natural world like that.
I only cut it out of spite too.
I figured I had it coming.
And to go back to the horses one more time, I do remember there was a day when Lacey and Alex, who plays Amanda, were like shooting some sort of like B-roll with the horses. And I think I had walked off to get like change for the next scene. And someone said to me like, they're shooting with the horses. And I was like, what? And I ran. And I was just like, give me an apple. And someone gave me an apple, and I just like fed it. And I was like, record this. And I just hoped that I got into it. And it is, I think I'm not in most of it, but that whole little montage I think is so beautiful, the way that Peter did it. And I love that.
Yeah, that montage, I remember our costume designer, Layla, ran up to me and was just like, it's Peter says, throw this sweater on, that had like never been established in the movie. And I was just like, why? And I ran outside, and like literally the moment where the little, like the flowers are, that was, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I still remember seeing those flowers starting to come off the tree. I don't know what they were. Were they flowers? Were they?
It was a pollen thing.
Pollen.
Yeah.
Pollen. Okay, seeing the pollen come off the tree with that light behind it, I still remember just being like, fuck, we gotta shoot. You know?
Yeah, I like, to Peter's point about collaborating with the natural world. While we were shooting, I think Scott feeding the apple to the horse, I turned around and saw like all that stuff, and I was like, should I say something? Like, Peter's shooting Scott feeding an apple to a horse. And then I was like, hey, Peter, like, I don't know if you care, but this is happening over here. And Peter turned and was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was like in seeing Aurora Borealis.
Can you imagine? He's like, I'm a little busy shooting Scott feeding a horse an apple that will never appear in the movie. So thanks, but no thanks.
And that horse, I don't know if you're supposed to feed horses things. I don't know. That's
They let us. I think they were like, you can feed them apples.
Right, but it's got like big gums, you know.
And those big teeth.
Yeah. That was, and I was just like, I hope it works.
And that's how he broke his rib.
Got kicked by the horse.
Oh gosh. I was kind of wondering, I was like, are we going to get any explanation for how the ribs got broken? But it's all good.
I fell on a bat. It was really my fault. It was no one's fault. It was really my own negligence.
And Scott
Not ours, not your employer.
We can tell the story that it was the horse, and that's what I got from the film, from mostly not from the film. But thank you all so much for like this amazing conversation. It sounds like even if you're all connected through Lacey, it sounds like you all will be connected for the rest of your lives, because it sounds like you guys had such a wonderful experience, which is absolutely lovely. Thank you to everyone who's watching this Q&A and for watching the film. It is Rehab Cabin. And just wanted to say thank you, I guess.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.